shall cisterns,
broken cisterns that can hold no water.
Skip down to verse 9. Go ahead and read. I'm sorry, verse 19. Verse 19. Go ahead.
Thine own wickedness shall correct thee.
Oh, you would think, wouldn't you? Your own wickedness, I'll whoop on you a little bit. Maybe you'll take it to heart and say, well, look, this is the Lord whooping on me, and turn back to the Lord and start doing what he tell you to do, right? He said, thine own wickedness shall correct thee. God didn't just punish this people. Our people in the condition that we're in because of our forefathers and what we are still doing today. With walking after water, playing the harlot with all these other gods. And still won't turn back to him. Thine own wickedness shall correct thee. Go ahead and read.
And thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Know therefore, and be that is the evil thing and bitter.
Go ahead.
That thou hast forsaken the Lord thy God, and that my fear is not in thee, saith the Lord God of hosts.
See, they don't even fear the Lord no more. Now they don't start following after these other gods. He started whooping. They still don't fear the Lord no more. Verse 20, go ahead and read.
For of old time I have broken thy yoke, and burst thy bands, and thou sayest, I will not transgress, which upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest, playing the harlot.
Ooh, you see what they did? He said, you know, you said you're going to do right, but then you still wandering over every green tree and you still playing the harlot. Our people have been playing the harlot for thousands of years and still playing the harlot today. So far gone, don't even know who we are. That's how far gone that's how far we have gone. Don't even know this, and playing the harlot just as freely because we don't know who we are. Some of us, the majority of us, I would say, don't know who we are. Skip down to verse 25. Go ahead and read it.
Withhold thy foot from being unshorn, and thy throat from thirst.
Go ahead.
But thou sayest, there is no hope. No, for I have loved strangers, and after them I will go.
See, that's what they're doing. They're loving strangers. They're going after strangers. But the Lord said, look, don't make no covenant with the strangers, did he? Skip down to verse 28. Skip down to verse 28. Go ahead and read it.
But where are thy gods that thou hast made thee?
Did you see where your gods at? You know, I'm putting this whooping on you. Where they at? You worshiping them. You worshiping them and everything and calling upon them. Where are they? Why come they haven't stopped this whooping that I'm putting on you? Go ahead and read.
Let them arise, and they can save thee in the time of thy trouble.
Go ahead.
For according to the number of thy cities,
go ahead,
are thy gods, O Judah.
Now you know who this is now, don't you? Because look, we got a church on every block, don't we? We got a church on every block. He said, for according to the number of thy cities are thy gods, O Judah. We're the only ones, the only people. You want to find out who Israel is? Go in all the neighborhoods, and then when you get to the black neighborhoods, you see all these churches. Then you found Israel. You found Israel. Go ahead and read.
Verse 29.
I'm sorry, verse 32. Skip down to verse 32. Go ahead.
Can a maid forget her ornaments? Or a bride her attire?
Go ahead.
Yet my people have forgotten me days without number.
Ooh, he said, can a maid forget her ornaments or a bride her attire? She don't forget that, do she? He said, but yet my people have forgotten me days without number. And he is not, the prophet right, Jeremiah is not lying, is he? Because this people have forgotten God, this our husband, days without number. I'm talking about as a people. Because you know you got, like I said, a 1%ers. Let's go now. Let's go to Ezekiel the 16th chapter, Ezekiel 16. Ezekiel 16, and we're going to pick it up at verse 14. Ezekiel 16 and 14. Because the Lord, He's going to call judgment. He calling judgment on this people for this. Ezekiel 16 and 14. Ezekiel 16 and 14. Go ahead and read it.
And thy reown went forth among the heathen for thy beauty. For it was perfect through thy comeliness, which I have put upon thee, saith the Lord God. But thou didst trust in thy own beauty.
He said, but you trusted in your own beauty. Go ahead and read.
And playedst the harlot because of thy renown.
And played the harlot because of thy renown. You know, you looking all good and everything, and now you start playing the harlot. You understand? You running from this God to that God to this God. Go ahead and read.
And pouredst out thy fornications on everyone that passed by.
And look, you start pouring out your this fornication. You start pouring it out on everybody that walk by. You start telling them about other gods and how to worship other gods instead of how to worship me. Go ahead and read.
His it was. And of thy garments thou didst take. And deckedst thy high places with divers.
Look, you done took the garments that I gave you and started decking the high places with them. Go ahead and read.
With divers covers, and playedst the harlot thereupon. The like thing shall not come, neither shall it be so.
Go ahead.
Thou hast also taken thy far jewels of thy gold and of my silver, which I have given thee.
See, look, they took the things that he had given them and started playing the harlot with these jewels and gold and everything that he gave to them with these other gods. Go ahead and read.
And madest to thyself images of men, and didst commit whoredom with them.
Go ahead.
And tookest thy broad garments, and coveredst them, and thou hast set my oil and my incense before them.
Go ahead.
My meat also, which I gave thee, fine flour, and oil, and honey, wherewith I feed thee, thou hast even set it before them for a sweet sour savor. And thus it was, saith the Lord.
Look, all the stuff that I gave you, you set it before all these other gods. That is really something, isn't it? After all the Lord did for his people, they give them the jewels and decked them out and everything and gave them gold and silver, and they start playing the harlot with the other gods, with the things that he gave them, that he gave to his wife. Go ahead and read.
Verse 20. Moreover, thou hast taken thy sons and thy daughters, whom thou hast born unto me.
But wait a minute, these his kids. He said, whom thou hast born unto me. So these are my sons and daughters. And look what they did with them. Go ahead and read.
And these hast thou sacrificed upon them to devour.
They sacrificed his children, right? Unto them to devour. Go ahead and read.
Is this of thy whoredoms a small matter?
He said, this of thy whoredoms a small matter? This ain't no small matter. Verse 21, go ahead.
That thou hast slain my children, and delivered them to cause them to pass through the fire for them.
He said, look, is this a small matter that you did? You had taken my children and caused them to pass through the fire? Look at all this that they were doing. Skip down to verse 23. Go ahead and read it.
And it came to pass after all thy wickedness, woe.
You see what he said? He said, after all that wickedness, he said, whoa. Just like you would tell somebody, hold up, man. Or you tell your wife, hold up, girl. What you think you doing? Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass after all thy wickedness, woe unto you, saith the Lord God.
Go ahead.
That thou hast also built unto thee an eminent place.
Go ahead.
And hast made thee an high place in every street.
See, you have made you a high place in every street. You understand? All these churches and all this stuff. Go ahead and read.
Thou hast built thy high place at every head of the way, and hast made thy beauty to be abhorred.
Go ahead.
And hast opened thy feet to everyone that passed by, and multiplied thy whoredoms.
Go ahead.
Thou hast also committed fornication with the Egyptians.
Now the Egyptians had them in slavery, right? Had them in bondage. He said, you done committed, you done went back to the bond, the ones that had you in bondage. You done committed fornication with them. Go ahead and read.
Thy neighbors great of flesh. And has increased thy whoredoms to provoke me to anger.
You see what he did? He said, you have increased your whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Go ahead and read.
Behold, therefore, I have stretched out my hand over thee, and have diminished thine ordinary food, and delivered thee unto the will of them that hate thee.
Go ahead.
The daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of thy lewd way.
Go ahead.
Thou hast played the whore also with the
Assyrians. Look, he said you have played the whore. They playing the harlot with everybody, aren't they? The Egyptians, the Assyrians. Look, these people were their enemies too. Go ahead and read. The Canaanites, the Assyrians, the Egyptians, they just playing the Chaldeans. Man, they playing the harlot with everybody. And guess what? Our people are still playing the harlot. Still playing the harlot with all these other gods. Because I could go down the list and name all the religions that we are in now. After all these thousands of years, still playing the harlot. Well, go ahead and read though. What verse you at?
Verse 28. Thou hast played the whore also with the Assyrians. Because thou wasn't unsettable. Yea, thou hast played the harlot with them, and yet couldst not be satisfied.
You see, you playing the harlot with even the Assyrians and Egyptians, you still not satisfied. Verse 29, go ahead.
Thou hast moreover multiplied thy fornication in the land of Canaan unto Chaldea.
Look, from the land of Canaan all the way to Chaldea. That's Nebuchadnezzar in there. The Babylonians. Go ahead and read.
And yet thou wasn't not satisfied herewith.
He said you still weren't satisfied. These people was really something, aren't they? Go ahead and read.
How weak is thy heart?
He said, how weak is your heart? You playing the harlot with everybody. You my wife and you sleeping with everybody. He said, how weak is your heart, Israel? Go ahead and read.
Saith the Lord God. Seeing thou doest all these things, the work of an imperious, whorish woman.
The work of an imperious, whorish woman. Man, he said some strong words about this people, isn't he? About his wife. 31, go ahead.
And that thou buildest thy eminent place in the head of every way, and madest thine high place in every street, and hast not been as a harlot.
Go ahead.
And that thou hast scorned higher.
Go ahead. She said you haven't been as a harlot as scorned as a higher. You know, because the harlot, usually with a harlot, she go out there and do her thing, she get paid, don't she? Go ahead and read.
But as a wife that committed adultery, which taketh strangers instead of her husband.
Go ahead.
They give gifts to all whores.
She said they give gifts to all whores.
But thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers.
Ooh, you giving gifts to your lovers. Instead of them giving you gifts, you playing a harlot. The harlot's supposed to get paid. You're not even getting paid. You're paying them. This is a sick woman, ain't she? This is a sick wife right here. Read that again.
Verse 33. They give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers.
You giving your gift, you paying for it. Not them paying you,
And hires them.
And you doing the hiring. But you going around sleeping with everybody, you paying them. You hiring them people that you sleeping with. That's backwards, ain't it? I mean, at least you're going to be a whore. You should get paid for it, don't you? But she is paying them. Go ahead and read.
That they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredom.
Go ahead.
And the contrary is in thee from other women in thy whoredom, whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms, and in that thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee.
See, you giving out the reward. You contrary to the other women. They go out of whore and they get paid, right? You go out of whore, you paying the recipient. You paying him. You doing contrary. You giving him the reward. Go ahead and read.
And no reward is given unto thee.
And no reward is given unto you. That is backwards, ain't it? Getting the milk for free. But not only that, they get the milk for free, but she paying for them to get the milk free. Now that is really something, ain't it? What verse you at?
The end of 34.
Go ahead and read.
Therefore thou art contrary.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Lord.
Uh-huh.
Thus saith the Lord God, because thy filthiness was poured out, and thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms, with thy lovers, and with all the idols of thy abominations.
Go ahead.
And by the blood of the children, which thou givest them unto them. Behold, therefore, I will gather all thy lovers, with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, with all them that thou hast hated, I will even gather them round about against thee.
He said, look, I'm going to take your lovers that you was out there loving on and playing the harlot. I'm going to take them and gather them and put them and pit them against thee. Go ahead and read.
And will discover thy nakedness unto them,
go ahead.
that they may see all thy nakedness.
Look, they gonna find you out. You've been playing the harlot with everybody. And they're going to discover your nakedness. Verse 38, go ahead.
And I will judge thee.
And I will judge thee,
as showed blood are judged. And I will give thee blood in fury and jealousy.
Read that again. And I will judge thee as a woman that breaketh wedlock. Read that again, verse 38.
And I will judge thee as woman that break wedlock, and show blood are judged. And I will give thee blood in fury and jealousy.
Now, because he is a jealous God, ain't he? He said, I'm going to judge you as a woman that's judged out of wedlock. Right? And shed blood are judged. And I will give thee blood in fury and jealousy. Because he is a jealous. He told him that when he started off, didn't he? I'm a jealous God, visiting iniquity of the father to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. And show mercy to thousands that love me and do what? Keep my commandments. But see, you have broken the wedding vows. Go ahead and read.
Verse 39. And I will also give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thy eminent place.
Go ahead.
And shall break down thy high places. They shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take thy fair jewels,
go ahead,
and leave thee naked and bare.
See, look, I'm going to take everything that I gave you, I'm going to take it from you. I'm going to have your lovers to take it from you. Verse 40, go ahead.
Verse 40. They shall also bring up a company against thee, and they shall stone thee with stones, and thrust thee through their swords.
Go ahead, verse 41.
And they shall burn thine toward them.
He said, and thou shalt burn thine houses. Go ahead and read. Verse 41. We had Ezekiel 16 and 41.
And they shall burn thine houses with fire, and execute judgments upon thee in the sight of many women, and I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot. He said,
I'm gonna cause you to cease from playing the harlot,
and thou also shalt give no hire anymore.
And you're not gonna give no hire no more. See, she playing the harlot, but she doing the paying. Let's go now. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter, Jeremiah 3. Jeremiah 3. And we're going to pick it up at verse 6. Jeremiah 3 and 6. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
The Lord said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel have done? She is gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there have played the harlot.
Go ahead.
And I said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me.
Now look, after she had done all of these things and playing the harlot, right? He says, still turn thou unto me. Because he loved his people. After all she had done, he still got his hands stretched out now, telling his people, turn back to me. But our people won't hearken, will they? I mean, some, the 1%ers, we've been hearkening unto them. But the other 12%, they still won't hearken unto them. Go ahead and read.
But she returned not.
But she returned not. Go ahead.
And her treacherous sister Judah saw it. And I saw, when for all the cause whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away.
Go ahead.
And given her a bill of divorce.
I have put her away and given her a bill of divorcement. I have given her a bill of divorcement because she played the harlot for so long. Lord just say, look, you know what? It's time for a divorce. You know how it go. You know, the husband or the wife, they out there playing around. One of them just say, you know what? That's it. We getting a divorce. Go ahead and read.
Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also.
Now Judah, she was kind of like laying back, watching all this, still following the Lord, and then she turned around, watched all this, and watched what the Lord did to the children of Israel, and then she turned around and played the harlot too. What verse you at?
Verse 9. And it came to pass through the likeness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and with stocks.
Go ahead.
And yet for all this, her treacherous sister Judah have not turned unto me with her own heart.
Go ahead.
And finally said the Lord.
Now, so Judah was watching all this, and she turned from the Lord herself. She started playing the harlot. But he said, you know what? After all the whoredoms that she committed, he said, you know what? I'm going to give this woman a bill of divorcement. I'm going to give my wife Israel a bill of divorcement. Let's go look at it again. Isaiah, the 50th chapter. Isaiah 50. Because you can only put up with it for so long, can't you? Amen. Isaiah 50, and we're going to pick it up in verse 1. Isaiah 50 and 1. And you know, people wondering, Israel wondering, black people, they wondering, this Negro wondering why all these things are still happening to them. Because you are out still playing the harlot with these other gods. And the Lord is watching. We ain't going to even mention the people that's out there doing the murder and the killing and the stealing and all them. We're talking about the ones that's out there playing the harlot with these other gods. And I don't have to call them out today, do I? Isaiah 50 and 1. Isaiah 50 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. Where is the bill of your mother's divorcement?
Go ahead.
Whom I have put away.
He said, where's the bill of your mother's divorcement whom I have put away? Go ahead.
Or which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you?
Because he sold the children of Israel into slavery, didn't he? That's how we got here. Go ahead and read.
Behold, for your iniquities have ye sold yourselves.
Ooh. He said, for your iniquity have you sold yourselves. This is why I gave you a bill of divorcement, because of your iniquities. He said, for your iniquities have you sold yourselves. Go ahead and read.
And for your transgressions, your mother put away.
He said, for your transgression, that's why your mother is put away. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore, when I came, I was there no man.
When I came, was there no man?
Wherefore, when I came, was there no man? When I called, was there none to answer?
Go ahead.
Is my hand shortened at all, that it cannot redeem?
Go ahead.
Or have I no power to deliver? Behold, at my rebuke I dry up the sea. I make the rivers a wilderness. Their flesh sinketh, because there is no water, and dieth for thirst.
Now we're going to show you who this is talking about right here. This one that married and divorced Israel. We're going to show you who this is. He said, I dried up the sea. I make the rivers a wilderness. Their fish stinketh because there is no water, and die for thirst. Verse 3, go ahead.
I clothe the heavens with blackness. And I make sackcloth their cover.
He said, I'm the one that clothed the heaven with blackness. And I made sackcloth their coverings. This God we dealing with, aren't we? Verse 4, what does it say?
The Lord God has given me the tongue of the learned.
Wait a minute. This one that clothed the heavens with blackness and made sackcloth their covering? He said, the Lord God has given me the tongue of the learned. He got a God? Go ahead and read.
That I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary.
Go ahead.
He waketh morning by morning. He waketh mine ear to hear as the learned. The Lord God hath opened mine ear, and I was not rebellious.
Go ahead.
Neither turned away back. I gave my back to the smith.
He said, I gave my back to the smiters.
And my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair.
And my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair.
I hid not my face from shame and spitting.
I hid not my face from shame and spitting. Who are we looking at right here? We're looking at Jesus, but we're going to show you, though, this is the Lord. Let's go to Matthew, the 26th chapter. Matthew 26. And we're going to pick it up at verse 52. Matthew 26 and 52. He said, I gave my back to the smiters and them that plucked off the hairs on my cheek. And I did not withstand shame and spitting. So can you imagine that? They were spitting in his face and grabbing her because he had a beard, and they plucking off the hair on his cheek. Can you imagine that? For this woman, he did this. Not only for this woman, but for this world he done this. Because Jesus came to save the whole world, didn't he? But he also came back for his bride too. And his bride is who? The children of Israel. And we're going to show you. He's going to marry his bride again. But he's going to cause this wedding, cause everybody to come to this wedding. Because he will marry, he's going to marry the other nations too. We have verse 52, 26 and 52. Let's show you who this is. Go ahead and read it.
Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place. For all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword.
Now this is when Peter, they had brought Jesus to the Pharisees and everything, and they had grabbed him this night. Peter pulled out his sword. He finna do something, and the Lord said, "Don't do it." Right? Go ahead and read. Look what he's gonna say. Verse 53.
Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels?
He said, I can pray to my Father. He can send me more than 12 legions of angels. Go ahead and read.
But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled? That thus it must be.
Go ahead.
In that same hour said Jesus to the multitudes, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and staffs for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and ye laid no hold on me.
Go ahead.
But all this was done, that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. And they that had laid hold on Jesus led them away to
Caiaphas.
Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled.
Skip down to verse 66 now. Skip down to verse 66. Go ahead.
What think ye? They answered and said, he is guilty of death.
Now they had brought him to the high priest and everything, right? And then the high priest made a decision and said, well, what think you of him? They said, he is worthy of death. Go ahead and read.
Then did they spit in his face.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't we just read that? I withheld not my face from shame and from spitting. We just read that in Isaiah, didn't we? The 50th chapter. Read that again.
Then they spit in his face and buffeted him.
Go ahead.
And others smote him with the palms of their hands, saying, prophesy unto us, thou Christ, who is he that smote thee?
Now look, so now we're looking at the Lord now, aren't we? The one that clothed heaven with blackness and made sackcloth that covered and said, the Lord God hath given me the tongue of the learned. Right? He said, I gave my back to the spies and them that plucked the hairs on my cheek, right? I withheld not my face from shame and spitting. So he is the one that was married to Israel then, isn't he? Because he's the one, he said, where's the bill of your mother's divorcement? He said, for your iniquities have I divorced you, Israel. So who was the one that divorced Israel? It was Jesus, when he was Jehovah. Now, let's go to Matthew, the 22nd chapter, Matthew 22, because he had called them to the wedding, but they wouldn't come. Matthew 22 and 2. Matthew 22 and 2. When you get it, go ahead and read it. Matthew 22 and 2.
The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son.
Now he made a marriage for his son. For this son is the Lord, ain't it? And this king is the Father. Go ahead and read.
And sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding. And they would not come.
See, he called them to this wedding, but they wouldn't come. Go ahead and read.
Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed.
Go ahead.
And all things are ready. Come unto the marriage.
Come unto the marriage. Go ahead and read.
But they made light of it, and went their ways. One to his farm, another to his merchandise.
He said, you know what? Come to my wedding. But he said they made light of it. One to his farm and another to his merchandise. We're going to hold it right here. We're coming right back. Let's go to, hold your hand right here. We're coming right back. Let's go to Luke the 14th chapter. Luke 14. Because Luke going to tell you about this dinner, this supper again. Luke 14. Can we hold your hand? Because we're coming right back to Matthew the 26th chapter. We're going to Luke 14 and 16. Luke 14 and 16. Go ahead and read it.
Then said he unto him,
A
certain man made a great supper and bade many.
He bade many. Go ahead and read.
And sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready.
Go ahead.
And they all with one consent began to make excuses.
Now look, they making excuses why they won't come to this wedding. And that's why men that's what men do today. They make excuses why they won't keep the Sabbath, right? They making excuses why they won't come and serve the Lord. Because they done bid men to the wedding. But most people making excuses. Go ahead and read.
The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee have me excused.
So he bought a piece of ground. He said, I got to go look at this land I just bought. So have me excused. Go ahead and read.
And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee have me excused.
He said, I bought 5 yokes of oxen. We going to try them out. I got to go try them out. Have me excused. Go ahead and read.
And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come.
He said, another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. I got to go check her out. All of them making excuses why they won't come to this marriage. Go ahead and read.
Verse 21. So that servant came and showed his Lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant.
Read louder. Read verse 21 again.
So that servant came and showed his Lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant. Now
the master of this house, being angry, said unto his servant, because they were all making excuses, weren't they? So the master of the house, he's angry now. Go ahead and read.
Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city.
Go ahead.
And bring in hither the poor, and the maimed, and the halt, and the blind.
He said, go bring out the poor. Go in the streets now. Right? Go in the streets, because, you know, the harlot going to make it to the kingdom before the Pharisees and Sadducees. He told them that, didn't he? So he said, go out in the streets and find these people. Go and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. Go in the streets and get the people. Because my house has to be furnished for this supper. Go ahead and read.
And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded. And yet there is room.
He said, there's still room left. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled.
Go ahead.
For I say unto you, that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper.
None of those people that were bidden shall taste of my supper. Because you ain't coming to the Lord, to this marriage, then you're not going to taste of this supper. But let's go back. Let's go to Matthew 22. Back to Matthew 22. And we're going to, this time we're going to pick it up at verse 6. Matthew 22 and 6. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
And the remnant took his servants and retreated them.
And entreated them. You okay? You're a little tired today. Go ahead and read, fellas. Read that again.
Okay. And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully, and showed them.
And slew them. Go ahead and read.
But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth. And he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers.
Go ahead.
And burned up their city. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready.
The wedding now, it is ready. Go ahead and read.
But they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage.
Now he told them the same thing that to the supper, right? Go into the highways now and bid them, right? Because my wedding party got to be furnished. Go ahead and read.
So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found.
Go ahead.
Both bad and good.
Both what?
Bad and good.
Bad and good. Bad and good. Because he's going to separate them at the harvest. So he said, bring in the bad and the good. You know, the wheat and the tares. You understand? Let them come together and I'm going to separate them at the harvest. So he said, go on the highways and the streets and find the bad and the good. And bring them to this wedding. Go ahead and read.
And the wedding was furnished with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment.
Now he saw this guy, he didn't have on a wedding garment. Because you know, you come to a wedding, you're supposed to come formally dressed, right? And he was talking about you being clothed in righteousness. So this guy didn't have on the right attire. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Now
he was speechless. You have somebody come and say, man, what you doing? What you doing up in here dressed like that? He was speechless. Go ahead and read.
Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand, and foot.
Now he said, look, bind him hand and foot and take him away. Now, you know, the Lord is likening this to a person that's getting ready to get cast into the lake of fire because he was not walking in righteousness, yet he came to this wedding. So now he said, bind him hand and foot,
and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
He said, look, bind him hand, you ain't going nowhere. Because we're going to bind you hand and foot, and we're going to cast you into outer darkness. What is that? That's hell, ain't it? Because he said, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Go ahead.
For many are called, but few are chosen.
For many are called, but few are chosen. And this is what you have to do. First, before we go there, though, let's go to John, the 3rd chapter. He said, many are called, but few are chosen, didn't he? Now, I'm going to show you what you have to do. Because you have to make your calling and election sure. When you invited to this wedding, let's go to John, the 3rd chapter, John 3. John, the 3rd chapter, we're going to pick it up at verse 28, John 3 and 28. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
Ye yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not the Christ.
Now this is John telling his people that he said, ye yourselves bear me witness that I said I am not the Christ. Go ahead.
But that I am sent before him. He that have the bride.
Because we got to find out we know who the bridegroom was in the Old Testament, the one that married the Lord and the one that divorced him, right? Now we're going to find out who the bridegroom is now. Read that again.
Verse 29. He that hath the bride is the bridegroom.
He that hath the bride is the bridegroom. Go ahead and read.
But the friend of the bridegroom, which standeth and heareth him, rejoiceth greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This my joy, therefore, is fulfilled.
Because John, he was the bridegroom. He was the best man, in other words. John was. He was the Lord's best man. He said, this is my joy, therefore is fulfilled. Because he was the best man of the bridegroom. Go ahead and read.
He must increase, but I must decrease.
He must increase, but I must decrease. Verse 31.
He that cometh from above is above all. He that is of the earth is earthly.
Because Jesus said, ye are from the earth, I am from above, didn't he? Go ahead and finish that.
And speaketh of the earth, he that cometh from heaven is above all.
Now, he's talking about Jesus, isn't he? So we're going to show you plainly who the bridegroom is now. Let's go to Luke, the 5th chapter. Luke 5. Because here's the one, the son that had the marriage. Here's the son that had the marriage. Here's the bridegroom. We're in Luke 5 and 33. Luke 5 and 33. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
And they said unto him, why do the disciples of John fast often and make prayers, and likewise the disciples of the Pharisees, but thine eat and drink?
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, can ye make the children of the bride chamber fast?
He said, can you make the children of the bride chamber fast? Go ahead and read.
While the bridegroom is with them?
While the bridegroom is with them? Who is the bridegroom that's with them? That is Jesus. Go ahead and read.
But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days.
Ooh, he telling them what's going to happen to them, isn't he? He said, but the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from. Who was the one that was taken away from them? Jesus is, right? So who was the bridegroom then? Jesus. Now who is the bride? Israel. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days. Now let's go to 2 Peter, the 1st chapter, because he said, you know what? You got to make your calling and election sure. You got to make this calling and election sure. So we have 1 Peter, the 9th, 1 Peter 1 and 9. 2 Peter 1 and 9. You have to make your calling and your election sure. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
But he that lacketh these things is blind, and cannot see afar off, and have forgotten that he was purged from his own sins. Wherefore, the brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure.
Give diligence to make your calling and election sure.
For if ye do these things, ye shall never fall.
If you do these things, you shall never fall. So what is it that you have to do to make your calling and your election sure? Let's go to Hebrews, the 3rd chapter, Hebrews 3. And we're going to pick it up at verse 12. Hebrews 3 and 12. It's the same thing that the children of Israel had to do of old to make their calling and election sure. Hebrews 3 and 12. Hebrews 3 and 12. Go ahead and read it.
Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief.
Go ahead.
And departing from the living God.
And departing from who?
The living God.
The living God. Go ahead and read.
But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hearkened through the deceitfulness of sin.
Wait a minute. But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. Because the children of Israel under the Old Testament, they were hardened through the deceitfulness of sin, weren't they? Be whoring after other gods, following their ways, taking their jewels and gold and silver and setting it up to these other gods. So their hearts were hardened to the deceitfulness of sin. Go ahead and read.
For we are made partakers of Christ. If we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end.
See, you got to hold this until the end. You understand? You got to walk in them laws and commandments till the end. Go ahead and read.
While it is said, today if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts.
Today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart.
As in the provocation.
Go ahead.
For some, when they had heard, they did provoke. Howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses.
Now they provoked the Lord, didn't they? By their whoredoms, didn't they? Let's go now. Let's go to, because he said when you hear his voice, don't harden your heart. And this is what you got to do. Psalm 78 and 5. Psalm 78 and 5. See, don't be stiff-necked like our fathers were. Psalm 78 and 5. I'm talking to you, Israel. Psalm 78 and 5. Psalm 78 and 5. She's signaling me to hurry up. Okay. Psalm 78 and 5. Go ahead and read it.
For he established a testimony in Jacob. And appointed a law in Israel.
And that's what happened, right? He said a testimony, established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, didn't he? Go ahead and read.
Which he commanded our fathers.